Hi everyone. So this lecture will introduce you to the subject ethics. Okay, and this is intended to also help you answer the activity that's provided in your module. Okay, so first let's take a look at the definition of ethics. Okay, so it's a discipline concerned with what is morally good and bad, right and wrong. It deals with the basic principles of moral rules. Class, when we say discipline, it means it's a study. Okay, it is a study that is concerned with questions of how people ought to act, with what is really good and what is really bad. So ethics encompasses the whole moral ideas and behaviors. So even philosophy of a person. So ethics is a study, okay? It is a discipline that looks into morality or moral ideas, behaviors, okay, of people. So one way of looking or understanding ethics is by looking at the story written by Megan Knowles in your module, okay? In the story, it stated that there was a man who was brought to the emergency room in a Florida hospital, and he was unconscious and he needed CPR, okay, to be revived, right? However, the medical staff discovered a tattoo on his chest which says "Do not resuscitate," okay, with his signature on it. Right, so this created a confusion on whether or not to attempt to revive the patient or to honor and follow what his tattoo says. So the medical staffs really did not know what to do. Okay, so they requested an ethics consultant. Okay, and the ethics consultant said that in that situation they have to honor and follow the wish of the person. Okay, what was that wish? Do not resuscitate. Okay, so it was like an order. Okay, because he had his signature on his chest also. So that is where ethics is applicable. Okay, ethics is concerned about what should be done in a specific situation. Okay, so ethics advice or studies. Okay, the option. Okay, the it prescribes a certain action to be done on a specific situation. So ethics weighs principles of moral rules, options, and then it prescribes an action, okay, on what should be done, right? Okay, so ethics is concerned with ethical questions such as what is the good, what is good, who is a moral person, what are the virtues of a human being, how should human beings act, okay, and what makes an action right, and what duties do we have, okay, to each other, to our fellow human beings. Okay, so ethics class is concerned with norms, okay, with values. Ethics is concerned with human conduct. Okay, so it also studies universal values, okay, the common values, okay, of people in the universe, and it's also concerned with human conduct, how decent, okay, should conducts be, right? It's concerned with decent human conduct, right? Okay, so morality is a system of behavior in regards to standards of right or wrong behavior. Okay, so you behave in accordance to what your standard is. Kung ano sa tingin mo ang tama at ano sa tingin mo ay mali. Okay? Naturally, if you see something which is good, you will do it. But if you see it as bad, you will not do it. So you have a system, okay? Now, it's a concept of moral standards, behavior. It's a concept of moral responsibility, moral identity, okay? So in morality, you are capable of identifying what is right and what is wrong. You're also capable of having your own standards in regards to behavior. Okay, so it refers to individuals' own principles of right and wrong. It is your own. Okay, it's all your own principio of right and wrong. It's your own belief, your view, your idea. Okay, so the principle of an individual or a group about what is right and what is wrong can also be considered as morality. Okay, it's not only limited to yourself, to your own belief, but also to the belief or to the uh, principle of a group of people. Okay, so but morality differs class. What is our perception of morality differs. What is immoral for me might not be immoral for other people. Okay, so going back to ethics, it is a study, it is a discipline. Okay, and morality is a principle, it's a standard, it's a belief of what is right and wrong. Morality is the subject of ethics, ethical studies. Ito ang pinag-aaralan ng ethics. Okay? So ethics is looking into into morality. Okay? And morality is a body of principles, okay, that people possess. Okay? Right. So that people believes. Right? Okay. Why should man need to be moral? Because man is a social being. Okay, social being meaning man coexists with fellow humans. Okay, what do I mean when I say coexist? Okay, we live with other human beings. Okay, and we need to be moral because it's morality that differentiates us from animals and robots. Sociologists would say that humans should care about being moral because without morality, social life is impossible. Without knowing to identify what is right and what is bad, then social life will be non-existent. Okay, we will be like animals who would be fighting, who do not know how to identify the right thing to do and the best things to do. Okay, so you need to be moral because you are a man who lives with fellow men. Okay, so we should know what is right and what is wrong to do. Okay, psychologists on the other hand would say that we need to be moral because we care about what others think of us. We care about the impression of people of the impression that we make, okay, in front of other people. Okay, we care about what others will think of us. We want to preserve our reputation. That's why we need to be moral. Okay, we need to do moral things. We don't like to be shamed. Okay, theologically speaking, also people follow moral standards. They need to be moral because they believe that there is an afterlife. Like religiously, it is our duty to be good, to please God. Right? Some people would believe that we need to be moral and do good things so that we will live again after we die because there is an afterlife. Because there is a God who wants people to be moral. So that's your own. That's the belief of most people. Okay. Okay. How about moral standards? These are rules that we believe are right or wrong, that we personally believe are right and or wrong. These are also values. Okay. We look at some values to be good and to be what? To be bad. Okay. But moral standards sometimes would, or most of the time, would involve values, right conduct. Okay, what we believe is right, is the right thing to do. These moral standards are norms that individuals or groups have about the kind of actions believed to be morally right or wrong. Okay? So, moral standards are not changed by the decisions of laws. Okay? So, if the law says that divorce is allowed, okay, but your moral standards, your moral belief says that it is not good, then the law will not change your mind. You have your own moral standard, okay? All right, so when you talk about moral standards, we are talking about what is good, what is beneficial, what is right, what is wrong. We also talk about emotions, about shame or guilt. Okay? So different societies, different persons have different moral beliefs and of course moral standards. Let's say for example in the Philippines, living in without marriage is not really like acceptable, but in the West it's like normal. So we have different perceptions, different moral standards. All right, defining morality, could we look at morality or the morality of an action is being judged based on the merits, okay, based on the effect also, okay, we call that normative. However, when we look at the morality of an action basing on what people would think about that action, we call that descriptive. When we consider what people think about a specific action, that is descriptive. But when we look at the positive effect of a specific action, that's normative. Normative, okay, action. Descriptive, what people would think, okay. Alright, so if we have moral standards, we also have non-moral standards. Non-moral standards are rules that are not related with moral or does not have ethical considerations, okay? They are not necessarily linked to morality, okay? They are standards by which we judge what is good or bad and right or wrong in a non-moral way. So, hindi kasama yung morality dito. It's non-moral, okay? It's most of the time a matter of taste or preference. Example, rules of etiquette, okay, fashion standards, rules in games, and various house rules, okay. Fashion standards, your standard of what is fashionable, okay, is not actually a moral standard, okay. Examples of non-moral standards are laws, etiquettes, aesthetics, fashion, okay. So not all moral are, how you call that, legal, okay. Say for example, carrying a gun. It's not immoral to carry gun, okay, right? So when we know people who are carrying guns, we don't look at them as immoral people, okay? However, in the eyes of man, okay, man-made laws, if you are caught with an unlicensed gun, you will be liable of the crime of illegal possession of firearms, okay? So there is a standard law that regulates the possession of gun. So if you carry unlicensed gun, you will be punished, okay, if you are caught. However, we don't look at you as immoral, okay. So an example of a non-moral standard, okay. Eating with hands in a restaurant or in mang inasal, okay. Farting in front of your classmates, okay. So those are things that that are not with moral standards. Example, your choice of fashion, okay. The fashion standard now is wearing how you call this, fitted pants. But when you wear loose pants as a woman, okay, people will not look at you as immoral. Okay? It won't define who you are. That's an example of non-moral standard. Okay, dilemma. Right? It refers to a situation in which a tough choice has to be made between two or more options. Okay? Dilemmas with no moral issue involved. So these are cases wherein a person is faced with two or more options and they need to choose, and there is no morality issue involved there. You call that as dilemma. Like when you are confused on what course you will take, accounting or engineering, whether you shift or not. Okay? Are you facing a moral dilemma there? No, you're just facing a dilemma. Okay? There is no moral issue involved. Okay? So, what is a moral dilemma? Situation in which a difficult choice has to be made between two action, okay, either of which entails transgressing a moral principle. Okay, like say for example, the 2018 Miss Asia Pacific, Sharifa Akil. Okay, she admitted that she was in a dilemma whether to continue joining the pageant or not, because as a Muslim, she knew that the Muslim society will criticize and even condemn her. Okay, because the Muslim people would look at it as something that is not good to do, joining pageants and showing your body. Okay, so Sharifa in that situation is in a state of moral dilemma, okay, in deciding whether to join the pageant because she really likes to join or not, because if she does, she will be condemned by the Muslim society. So that's an example of a moral dilemma. It is a situation in which there is a choice to be made. Okay? All right. Key features of moral dilemma. An individual is required to do or choose between two or more actions. Kailangang pumili ka. Okay? And the individual cannot do all the actions, cannot do both or all, but you need to do one action only. Okay? You are in a moral dilemma if it involves morality issue. Okay? How to deal with moral dilemma? Assess what is the situation. Okay? What makes it a moral dilemma? Okay? What values are involved in the dilemma? Okay? Who is involved and who will be affected by the decision? How will the people react? And look at what are the possible solutions. Okay? And then think what will be the result of said solutions and then choose. Okay? All right. Freedom is the foundation of morality. So an individual is vested with freedom in making decisions, in determining what is right in any situation. An individual is free to reflect and think about the consequences of his action before making a decision and action. That's why freedom is the foundation of morality. Okay? Because man is free to follow that which he thinks is moral. Man is free to choose to be moral. Okay? Man have the freedom to be immoral, but man still choose to adhere to morality. Okay? That makes him what? Virtuous. Okay? That makes him moral. So there is no morality if man do not use their freedom to decide to be moral. So if man would use their freedom not to be moral, then there would be chaos, because man does not like to be moral. So it's a matter of choice. Okay, that's why it's a matter of choice, and you have the freedom to make a choice. Okay? All right. Requirements for morality. Okay. There is reason involved in morality. Okay. So, of course, we are guided by our moral decisions are also guided by emotions. Okay. We take emotions as the primary consideration, okay, in adhering to morality, but they ought to be guided by reason. Wag lang puro emotion. Okay? Morality is also characterized by impartiality. You are objective. It's objective. It's not bias. Okay? So decisions class ought to be based on an objective criteria rather than on the basis of bias. Okay? Right, how about rules? These are regulations or principles governing conduct. Okay? These are specific sets of norms of behavior, regulations, and laws established on purpose to regulate the life in the community. So it's a foundation for any healthy society to provide order. So rules limits behavior, okay? And rights are guaranteed with the enforcement of rules. Okay? It helps humanity to avoid chaos and many problems that may be caused by the lack of regulations. And rules helps to achieve a desired goal or result. That's why you have class rules. You have academic rules. Okay? We have rules everywhere to limit the behavior and to ensure that there is order. That is the importance of having rules.